name's John, and I am a nobody. Now, I'd like to tell you a bit about Motown, which is a very American thing, and especially about a guy who should be really famous but isn't. So, I discovered Motown in the strangest of places. It was in a building that had been built in 1657. I used to go down there because it was a ballroom and they had a live band playing and then they had a DJ. The live band was actually a cover band who were playing like the hits of the month or the week, which must have been quite a difficult job. But it was mainly the DJ that got me into Motown. The building itself was a ballroom, the Samson and Hercules is the name of it. It had been a ballroom from 1935 to 1982, so it had seen many, many people come and go. When I heard the DJ playing Motown stuff, I thought, well, this is just amazing because it's so bittersweet. Everything was perfect. The playing, the singing, the songwriting, it was just fantastic. Even at that young age, I recognized that it was something really special. And I loved the bottom end. I didn't even know it was James Jamerson. I'd never heard of him before. Most people hadn't at that time. And it was just a wonderful experience for me, that warmth, that energy, that love. And Motown were a very special company. They were the first American black company to employ white people. And they had 3 guitar players, one of whom was white, and 3 main bass players, one of whom was white, the great Bob Babbitt, who's sadly no longer with us, but he played on Stevie Wonder's Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and a lot of other hits. He sometimes sounds more like Jamerson than Jamerson. Yeah, amazing. Anyway, there I was, just listening to the music, enjoying the music. Little did I know that years later I would be playing in a cover band myself, but that's how things work out. Now, Motown moved to California in 1972, and according to Martha Reeves of the Vandellas, she turned up for work one day and there was a paper sign on the door, "We have moved to California." That was it. That's the only warning that she had and that the employees had. And it was in California that Motown had their last really big, massive success with the Jackson 5. Now, I have a friend who's a drummer and also a DJ, and he told me that the most recognizable intro in the history of pop music is "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5. Whether that's true or not is beside the point. "I Want You Back" is a very recognizable intro and a wonderful intro. People don't do intros anymore. It's like get straight into the singing, stick that rhythm machine on and see where it goes. But in those days, intros were important. Now, that record sold millions and millions and millions of copies, but very few people know who actually played bass on it, and I think I'd like to share that with you because it's important. The bass was played on a lot of the Motown Jackson 5 hits, not by a member of the Jackson 5. I was very naive in those days. I thought it might be played by, I think it's Jermaine Jackson, who did an incredible job. I mean, not only did he learn all those bass lines, but he did it live while dancing and singing backings. I mean, I take my hat off to him, I really do. fantastic job he did. But the man actually who played bass on I Want You Back was called Wilton Felder, which is not the easiest name to remember, but Wilton Felder was his name. He's sadly no longer with us. He was also a very talented saxophone player. And if you want to know what he looked like, well, here's a photo of him. Now, Wilton Felder was one of, I think, the three main bass players of Motown. If you include James Jameson, Bob Babbitt, and Wilton Felder, they must have been the three tops. And years later, I was doing an interview for BFBS in Germany when I was with my first band. And I mentioned that I loved the bass playing on Jackson 5 material. And a week or 2 weeks later, the guy, the DJ, actually had the Jackson 5 bass player on, Jermaine Jackson, and he told him this story, and Jermaine sent his roadie out to get a copy of our first album, which is amusing. I was playing a lot of fretless at that time, fretless bass, and it's still amusing to me that that album, our first album, might be somewhere, maybe in California, gathering dust on his bookshelf somewhere. But I want you to remember that name, Wilton Felder, because his bass playing was amazing. And it's sad to think that a man who played on so many recordings that sold so many copies is almost a nobody. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything. Or give it a thumbs down. It doesn't cost anything. Or maybe you can subscribe for new stories. And there's lots coming, one a week. And until then, take care of yourself and all those you love. And Tschüssikowski.